My fellow bad guys, I, Lex Luthor, your leader, will speak now about my, Lex Luthor's plan. My villainous plan. Question the plan at your peril.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes. It's a special week. We're going to have a double dose of Gervais, obviously, here today. We're going to be talking about Twitter. Is it real? But it is a real problem. Then obviously we'll have It's Complicated on Thursday. How you doing, Gervais?
I'm doing good from Bel Air. But go ahead.
You'll get that joke on Thursday because we already recorded that video. So we talked about the Dave Chappelle special, and one of the lines that I think a lot of people really enjoyed from the closer when he said, "Twitter's not a real place. I don't have to kind of worry about that." And that is effective because I don't think Twitter really is a real representation of culture. I think it's an extreme subset of it where you get a lot of extreme opinions and people. There's a lot of bickering and fighting. I don't think a lot of people would ever interact like that in real life.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean that it isn't a real issue that people shouldn't take serious.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a place where there's like little to no accountability. And I think that's why, you can say that almost in the real world sometimes, but at least if you had to say that during some of that stuff that gets said on Twitter to my face, you might have to think about it for a minute. You might wake up and like realize it's Tuesday. But it's like, other than that, it's like you and I talked about this one time off. We had a conversation, like off screen, if you will. And we were just talking about when we both used to be notorious keyboard warriors. And after a certain while, you just realize, wait a minute. And it's now become our philosophy. Like, and I know people were, well, just last week he said, and in his last video, he just ranted, whatever, get a sense of humor, do something. But the simple fact of the matter is, no one in life should be arguing with aliases and avatars. Okay? I mean, that's what, at the end of the day, you cannot take an alias and an avatar serious. It's like half the stuff that people say in the world of social media, they clearly wouldn't say if they were saying that to somebody's face. And if they were saying that to somebody's face, they have already identified that individual as a weak person who wouldn't fight back or was easily intimidated based on some of the stuff that they say. But saying this stuff through air over a couple of wires and cables, or what's this thing that this generation likes to do now? Doxing people and doxing people's wives, because you can hide behind 50 layers of security and all this other kind of stuff. It's like, are you serious? It's like some of the, and you know what I'm referencing to. A good friend Aaron LaPresti's wife, whose work I'm a big fan of. I still haven't heard exactly what he has done to offend the whole human race to justify going after his wife the way that you do it. It's like, look,
Ethan Van Sciver was late on his campaign, and Aaron LaPresti was on his channel, so therefore it's Aaron LaPresti and his wife's fault.
Yeah,
you can't make this stuff up, Gervais. It's some of the
I know you can't. No, you can't. It is like, there's an old saying, truth is stranger than fiction.
You gotta, jump through some pretty big hurdles, some mental gymnastics for you to justify harassing somebody. Aaron for something he has nothing to do with, and then to actually end up harassing his wife because she actually went out and defended it.
Mm-hmm. No. And it's like some people say, well, she should have minded her business and stayed out of it. It's just like,
maybe again, context. She doesn't realize that it's best to ignore this stuff. Or then maybe she can't just sit by when somebody's talking that much crap on her husband.
No, exactly. No, and that's the thing. And it's like, it's not a real world because it's a different thing to be up in somebody's face, popping nonsense. That's like one time my wife was out here outside our house, and she was basically sweeping trash into the street because it was, street sweeping day. And my wife goes all around our neighborhood doing beautification days and inviting people out from the neighborhood to do it, whether it's in front of our church, in front of one of the gardens we have here, just a particular block that she finds dirty. And so, this white person, and there's no other way to put it, this white person happens to be driving through with out-of-state plates and says that she sees her sweeping the garbage street, said, "This is why you people," and then drives off. So it's like, first of all, it's like you in the car, punk, driving by talking smack, but it's like, I like to see you be walking by and saying that, and me standing there like, why are you saying that to my wife? Let's see how smart mouth you are then. And that's what this comes down to. It's like Twitter is not real. Facebook is not real. YouTube is not real. That doesn't mean that meaningful, engaging conversations can't happen on it, because I wasn't on Twitter for a long time. The only reason why I started getting on Twitter again is because I'm having all these great conversations with guys like you and Doc and Jeff and Jerome and all that. And I'm having a wonderful time on Twitter. All that other nonsense that goes on Twitter, no thanks.
Well, I think one of the problems is, there's that anonymity problem, which I understand. Some people need anonymity to be able to speak freely about the things that they want to speak freely about. You don't want someone to end up contacting your boss and be like, look, he supports this political platform. You need to fire him. That's weird stuff. And we know that happens in today's culture.
Yeah, well,
but
that's because
obviously some people take advantage of the anonymity, as you're talking about, and they go too far. I think a big problem with the way that people interact with each other in the discourse is the lack of effort that you have to attain this access to other people. You don't have to go to your comic shop and see who's talking about the latest press release regarding John Kent's Superman and be like, I disagree with you, and this is why I think that's a good change. You could just go on there, whether you've read the goddamn comic book or not. You read the press release.
Exactly.
Like, these bigots are all out there. They're talking crap. And you just put in John Kent, Superman #5. And then you just go down there, and anyone that says anything with no context, it might be the middle part of a thread or whatever, and you just go and lambaste them as if you're the morality police out here.
Oh, and it's like, Wes, like, sometimes when we're talking about the comments and the videos, it's like, it is clear exactly who never watched the video, who didn't even take a pass at it. It's just like, yo, dude, where you get this from? Like, somebody with the last comments thing, it's not about the Bel Air stuff, but it's more about when I was talking about having FU buddy. And then the person said, well, I'm paraphrasing it. It's like, what are you paraphrasing for? It's a video. It's recorded. Just say what I said in the video. Why you gotta use different words to give a meaning to something that I wasn't apparently not? It would not impart that meaning to what I was saying at all. It's like, yo, dude, it's like you used to have to actually, back in the day when it was print media, you would actually have to write a letter to the editor.
You had to buy a stamp?
Put it in an envelope. That's right, buy a stamp, drop it off at the post office box, have it travel to the newspaper, then the person would actually read it first and select it, and keep on issues to see if it's in there. And now we have just virtual instant soapboxes where people just run off the mouth. And I think part of it is that the reason why it's so destructive, the anonymity part, because you don't even have to engage in civil discourse. You can just be rude as a mug. And that's why, like, once I started the Anime Concepts social media pages, I got real comfortable real quick just blocking people. And it's not because I'm afraid of somebody's opinion or afraid of somebody saying something, but it's like, yo, dude, you're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to your thoughts. You're entitled to criticizing me. You are not entitled to being as rude as you possibly can. That's my non-negotiable. If you want to say, yo, your work sucks, and this is why I think it sucks, and I can deal with sucks. Your work sucks, and you can give me a rational explanation, that's fine. But if you just say, well, your work just sucks, it's like, nah, do I going to block you over that? No. But if you like, your work effing sucks, then yeah, I'm blocking. Sorry, letting you all know that right now. Because it's like, yo, show a little mutual respect here. And that's what's missing from social media. It's just mutual respect. That's all.
It's hot takes. It's not discourse. But the problem is the people that with all these stupid hot takes that take no effort to put anything out there, that aren't going out there and supporting the things that they have these really big opinions on. They have instant access to, like, the publishers or whatever. And a lot of times when you use certain language, it's going to catch the eye of the social media team. Like, oh my goodness, look what's happening right now. The world must be burning down. And you have to react to this stuff. And they somehow jump to the front of the line rather than people that are talking normally and saying, hey, this is what I see here. This feels wrong. Can we talk about this? I don't have time for you. You're talking normal. I have to go put out this fire of this absolute maniac who's accusing our entire company of doing something crazy and not supporting an entire group of people.
No, and the other problem with all this is that apparently we have extremely poor leadership, because even they don't recognize that social media is not a real thing. Yeah, y'all heard my story. I'm not going to go into again my whole story about when one psycho decides to go on Facebook and starts lighting my wife up, starts lighting me up, calling my job, calling my boss's job, and all this and that, and all the rigmarole I had to go through. And that's because, unfortunately, you just have dumb people who basically believe anything without doing any due diligence, doing any investigation, or doing anything. And it's like, dude, you know, you're gonna be a sucker all your life. Then you go exactly about what somebody said on that somebody said on social media. And then you have to have people who have the courage to say, no, well, we're not going to do that. We're going to check your story first before you decide to start canceling them or firing them or suspending them, or whatever else. But you're exactly right. So in other words, you have instant access, which is like, because the access has increased, so does the responsibility of the people who are the gatekeepers have to increase too. You got to be better. You got to be better at this. Verify that joint before you take action on it. But you know how it goes. And I'm not going to say there isn't any legitimacy to this, because you're right. One person says something. By the time anybody decides to even check if it was true, it's already been seen by hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, and it's become veritable fact.
Yeah,
you know,
it's until decision makers, people in leadership positions, we're talking politicians, comic book publishers, news organizations, treat Twitter what it is. It's a place for people to go and talk, but it's not real life. It should not be affecting real life until they can take that stance. It is going to continue to be a problem. And there are going to be people who have not earned any type of authority over anyone else that are going to take this opportunity to go and exercise it over them and try to ruin people's lives, go out there and talk shit about somebody's wife. So weird to a poll. Should I go curb stomp Aaron Lepresti's wife? No, stop being a fucking weirdo, man.
Somebody said that.
Why were you talking to him to be? Well, he used different language.
Okay, but,
gotcha. Should I put her on blast? It's like, no, you shouldn't put Aaron Lepresti's wife on blast.
No,
stop being so strange. Yeah. You don't even know the lady. Like, she has nothing to do with any of this. Well, she defended her husband. It's her fucking husband. Get out of here.
Her husband. The father of her kids. The person she's been married to that she said,
would your mom defend your father? Of course she would.
Yeah. Would your mom defend you? Yeah, she would. Should I curb stop your mom because she defended you because of something stupid you said? No, she's your mother. Like, you know the old joke about moms. It's like, it said if a son walks into a bank and murders 50 people, it gets caught. His mom, once she finds out, would say, well, must have had a reason. That's how some of this stuff goes, yo. And it's like, sometimes I think when we're dealing, this ain't the real world. Sometimes I think that the majority of social media, it really is a bunch of 16 and 17-year-olds who are basically just running their mouths and basically triggering and punking the rest of us. It's like, I don't know, bro. It's like...
I got two nephews, and they're in their early 20s now, but 12 years ago, they were like 10, 11 years old. They're on their PlayStation 3 or whatever it is. You're finally online. They got their headsets on. You've never heard such wondrous smack talk coming out of their mouths full of cursing and all kinds of derogatory language as they're totally dressing down like 30-year-old men that they're playing Madden online with. These guys, like, there's a generation of wonderful smack talkers that can absolutely get your goat and get you to engage in stuff that you know better than.
Yep, and I'm telling you, man, I know. When I started getting into mobile gaming, I thought it was gonna be so cool to be able to like get on an online game and play with other people and like talk and go back and forth. And I turned that chat off. I'm like, no, I am not.
Do not play Call of Duty with the audio on.
No,
you don't want to connect with your teammates or the other team.
Cool? All I do is alliance invites to that because my daughters found the same thing. They started playing the game, playing one of those online games. And some of the kids in the group were their friends, but you get lumped in with other kids. They turned the chat off. They was like, no, that's okay. Because they said they had one game they were in there. They were almost like basically defending one of the other kids from being bullied. And I'm like, this is not fun. And it's like this community joy did not work out in terms of game. It's
because people lack that empathy. When you look someone in the eye and you want to say something personal about them, you have to take the effects that you're going to have on them when you see the way that they react. If you're just doing it online, let's like curb stomp somebody's wife. Let's put them on blast. Go tell your mom what you just did and see what she thinks about it. It's like,
that's what I always tell people about decision making. I love it with Warren Buffett. I always add extra bit, but his thing was like, if you want to know whether something's a good decision or not, he said the first thing you should ask is whether it's legal. And he said the second thing you should ask is if what you did was on a newspaper or online the next day and your family, your friends, and everybody whom you love and respected can see it. And if your answer to that question, any of your answers to the question is no, then you don't do it. You just don't do it because you're right. The empathy part is like when you're sitting there dressing down somebody's wife, is you got now have to deal with whether or not you're really hurting their feelings or breaking their heart or really, hurting someone, or you start seeing them start rolling up their sleeves. It's like you get an immediate feedback and consequence to your words and actions when you're standing all the way over there. When you're right in front of them, that you don't get when you're standing all the way over there. So it's like when you used to watch those old kung fu movies. And it was always like the gang, if you will. And it was always that one skinny dude who seemed like he was running the game, but you knew he couldn't beat nobody in a fight. He just always talking smack because he knew he had like 5 guys that were like Bolo Lung standing right behind him. It's like that's what social media is for the most part. It's like all those suckers, all those wussy and whippy suckers, it's like they can do all the smack talking without having any of the backup and without any of the repercussions. And, when I used to do the keyboard warrior, I always do I kind of won when they just start calling me a pedophile. That was always that's when they ran out of words.
I think the new thing is incel.
Pedophile. Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, I haven't gotten to a keyboard thing, but I've heard.
Yeah, it'd be like
that's what
you
it
see
is.
that in the comment section. People like, man, you stupid incels. I'm like,
yeah,
whatever makes you happy with your life. Do you think that I'm an incel? Go for it. I don't even care about that stuff anymore. As long as you're not cursing people out or being so over the top, insane with your response, whatever. I'll just ignore it.
Yeah, and a reply. Yeah, and a reply is not an argument. A reply is not, oh, I'm offended. The reply is just like, yo, because like somebody in the last comment thread said, I got no use for Gavin. It's like my name is right at the freaking top of the screen. That's okay. Gavin's ignorant point of view of something due to research history. So I like, such as? And that's the other thing about social media. People just make assertions. Don't back it up. No evidence. It's like, I've seen some of your comments. Somebody says, well, you really, Chappelle is not really your kind of comedy. It's more like, the Blue Comedy Tour. It's like, sir, you have no idea what I find funny. Tour. That's all there is to it. And then you sort of
Larry the Cable Guy, get out of here.
And then it came back well, I'm just giving my opinion, and I think the opinion was in caps, just like you do all the time. It's like, yo, dude, just
I didn't see you were down here. Look, I don't have anything with Blue Collar Comedy Tour. The Ron White part of it, when he had the tater salad joke, was absolutely fantastic. I'm not a Jeff Foxworthy guy. I don't like the "Here's Your Sign" song.
I don't know.
Get out of here.
I like Larry the Cable Guy. The other guys, I had no idea who they were, but I like Larry the Cable Guy. But the simple fact of the matter is, it is like, and then the other part that I like what Chappelle said when it came to that whole thing is like, and you know what? You clicked on my face. See, that's right. Take some responsibility for the fact that you engaged and decided to consume content that you at least suspected when you did it that it might not be to your liking. So it's like basically the whole idea is, I would say grow up, but the simple fact of the matter is that we also just grow behind people doing this joint. When you look at political Twitter, oh my God, this is one Democratic political operative. I'm not a right winger because I'm not picking on the right wing guys. If you know who the right wing guys, by all means, comment on the conference screen. But I would just never tangent. Supposedly the people that run in her Twitter circles, they're just like, they are known to be adults, and they talk smack and use language that would put even the most obnoxious 60-year-old to shame. It's like, these are grown behind men and women, I guess. Grown behind men and women. And it's just like, I would hope that they're using aliases and avatars. Because some of the stuff that they say, you would actually put your government photo and your government name to that? Man, it's like, whoo.
But Twitter's going to continue to be a problem. Dave Chappelle's right. It is not the real world. But as long as decision makers treat it like it's a real segment, or it's a good measuring stick about how people in the real world are feeling, it's going to continue to be a problem. People don't have empathy. They're not treating each other with kindness and respect, and it's too bad, Gervain. But it's not real, but it is a problem. That's all. It's not a problem. And the thing is that when it's done right, it's a great thing. Like I said, I mentioned before, Jeff Stout, me, you, Doc, Joe Corallo,
Jerome, the Doom Omega. There's a few people I've had wonderful interactions with on Twitter. Whether it's sharing, Jerome shared something with me yesterday, really insightful post talking about race, and have some really great things. But that's unfortunately the vast minority. That's just all there is to it. When I boosted, and I told you about this, when I boosted the Facebook post of the It's Complicated we did, talking about should white people feel guilty. Like I said, the thinking critical community, by and large, by far, leaps and bounds and strides, had much more thoughtful conversation in that comment section. But man, that larger Facebook world out there, ooh, they trying to give Twitter a run for their money, bro. It's like, dang, I'll think twice about doing that one again.
Yeah, there's a whole nother conversation we had about like the effects of not being able to talk out in society without offending every single person that you're around is affecting the way that we actually communicate when we're behind our keyboards as well. I think people kind of go buck wild on that stuff. Yeah, they do. It's what did James say? Cocaine is a hell of a drug. Yeah. So, that's keyboard, son. It's driving people nuts. But anyway, what are you going to do? Well, I do want to say thank you very much, Jervain. Be looking out for the next episode of It's Complicated on Thursday. I really appreciate your time, brother.
All right. Thanks, boy. It's a pleasure as always. Take care, man.